One of them is a guilty pleasure. The other is one of the greatest superhero stories ever told. And they're both about the exact same guy. Welcome to Flicks and Picks, where we dig into the films and shows worth talking about. Today, we're putting two versions of the same hero head to head. The 2003 Daredevil movie and the Netflix series that changed everything. If someone asked you, hey, have you seen Daredevil? There's a pretty good chance you're thinking of two completely different things. There are two versions of this character. One came out in 2003 starring Ben Affleck, and it was, well, let's say it's complicated. Then, there's the Netflix series that launched in 2015 and pretty much changed how people thought about superhero TV. Same character, same city, same basic origin story, but they feel like they're from different universes. So today we're going to break down both, figure out what each one got right, and honestly, what each one got wrong. Let's get into it. So first, for anyone who's not super deep into Marvel lore, who is Daredevil? Matt Murdock is a blind lawyer from Hell's Kitchen in New York City. As a kid, he was blinded in an accident involving radioactive waste. But that same accident amplified all his other senses to superhuman levels. He can hear a heartbeat from across a room, smell emotions, and has this kind of 360-degree radar sense that basically compensates for his lack of sight. By day, he's a scrappy defense attorney trying to help people who can't afford good lawyers. By night, he's out on the rooftops beating up crime bosses. He's got this deeply Catholic guilt complex, this internal war between justice and violence, and his arch-enemy is the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, basically the most powerful crime lord in the city. It's a fantastic setup, dark, grounded, very street level, and both adaptations tackled it very differently. Let's start with the movie. 2003's Daredevil was directed by Mark Steven Johnson, and it was very much a product of its time. This is post-Spider-Man, post-X-Men. Studios were trying to figure out how to do superhero movies, and the answer a lot of them landed on was leather costumes, new metal energy, and slow-motion everything. Ben Affleck plays Matt Murdock, Jennifer Garner plays Elektra, Clarke Duncan is an absolutely massive Kingpin, and Colin Farrell chews every piece of scenery in existence as Bullseye. Here's the thing about this movie that people often miss. There's actually a director's cut that's genuinely better than the theatrical version. It restores a whole subplot involving a murder investigation that feeds into Ben Urich's reporting on Kingpin, giving the story a lot more texture and grit. The studio cut it to get the runtime down, and frankly, it hurt the film. The theatrical version feels rushed and weirdly cartoonish. There are scenes that haven't aged well at all, but the bones of something interesting are there. In April 2015, Netflix and Marvel dropped their Daredevil series, and it was a genuine shock. Charlie Cox plays Matt Murdock, and right away you feel the difference. This version is quieter, more internal, more vulnerable. Vincent D'Onofrio plays Wilson Fisk, and his performance is one of the best villain portrayals in the entire Marvel universe. The man is terrifying and heartbreaking at the same time. The show leans hard into the crime drama side of things. It's grounded, brutal, and genuinely deals with themes like faith, guilt, corruption, and what it costs to be a vigilante. The violence has real consequences. The characters actually develop across episodes. And then there's the hallway fight in episode 2 of season 1 called Cut Man. If you've seen it, you know. One continuous shot. Matt exhausted and beaten, barely holding it together, fighting his way through a corridor to rescue a kid. It completely changed what people expected from superhero action. No clean flips, no invincibility, just someone who's tough and skilled, but very much human. All right, let's break it down category by category. Casting and lead performance. Ben Affleck isn't bad as Matt Murdock, and he's clearly committed, but the script doesn't give him much interiority to work with. Charlie Cox, on the other hand, makes you feel Matt's weight in every scene. The guilt, the faith, the conflict. Cox wins this pretty easily. The villain. Clarke Duncan was physically imposing as Kingpin, but the movie barely develops him. He and Daredevil share almost no screen time together, which just kills any sense of rivalry. Vincent D'Onofrio's Fisk is a whole different animal. You understand him, you almost feel sorry for him, and then he does something monstrous. One of the best MCU villains, full stop. Action and fight choreography. The movie uses a lot of wire work and CGI that hasn't aged great. The Netflix series goes almost entirely practical, and it shows. The fights feel exhausting and real. Hallway fight. That's all I need to say. Atmosphere. The movie was trying to be dark, but still had to be PG-13 and somewhat crowd-pleasing. The Netflix series had the freedom to be adult in its storytelling. No compromises. The one thing the movie did better: Ben Urich. Joe Pantoliano plays the reporter Ben Urich in the movie, and he's actually pretty close to the comic book version. Works at the Daily Bugle, figures out Matt's secret identity, but keeps it to himself. The Netflix version, played by Vondie Curtis Hall, is great, but changes quite a bit from the source material. Edge goes to the film here. So where does that leave us? Look, the Netflix series is the better piece of work. That's not even a debate at this point. It's deeper, it's better acted, it's better written, and it actually earned the character the respect he deserves from mainstream audiences. 3 seasons, and the first 2 especially, are some of the best superhero content ever made.
Maybe if he had an iron suit or a magic hammer, that would explain why you keep getting your asses handed to you.
But here's the thing. Don't completely write off the 2003 movie. Watch the director's cut if you can find it. There's a version of that film that almost works. And if you're a Daredevil fan, it's a fascinating time capsule of where superhero adaptations were in the early 2000s. 2 very different attempts to bring the same guy to life. One that stumbled, one that soared. And honestly, both exist now alongside each other. Charlie Cox's version is back in the MCU, showing up in Spider-Man, No Way Home, She-Hulk, Echo, and his own new series Born Again. So the character has never been more relevant. Alright, that's the breakdown. Which version do you prefer? Are you Team Ben Affleck 2003, or did Charlie Cox completely steal your heart? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this one, hit subscribe. I do this kind of deep dive comparison stuff pretty regularly, and I'd love to have you here for the next one.
Let's play.
See you in the next video.